All right, welcome to the podcast.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Perfect. So we'll start where everyone else does. As far as earliest childhood memories, what are we getting into?
Shit. Earliest childhood memory? Fuck, man. That's actually a good one. I guess, I remember, when I was a kid, I remember, my first memory, actually. I have a pretty good memory. I remember, when you're, a baby, your mom puts you, in those, high chairs, but they're, super strapped in.
Yeah,
So, you don't fall off the chair and, hit your head so you don't become, a fucking idiot or some shit.
yeah.
I remember getting out of the chair, finding a way to unstrap myself, and my mother was confused but also pissed because that was her time just to get away, so she could go chain smoke and shit.
So, when you're growing up, were you around a lot of family? Was it just your immediate family? What did it look like growing up?
For the most part, I'm an only child, and
Okay.
my dad was at work most of the time, and my mother, she would sleep during the day because she worked nights.
Yeah.
So it was mostly just me and my fucking dogs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty wild that your mom was working nights and your dad was gone during the day. Did you go outside much with other friends? Where did you grow up in where did you grow up?
I grew up in El
Okay.
Paso, Texas, and I grew up. I never had I wasn't a poor kid. But I wasn't rich. I grew up in the suburbs and stuff like that. And no, I mean everyone around me, my neighbors and all that shit, were either way older than me.
Okay.
So again, I would just go to my backyard and dig holes.
That's nice that you have a yard. We live in a townhome and we have about a 6 yard piece of grass that we call ours, but it's like, oh, maybe a backyard would be nice. That's not a driveway.
Yeah, you grew up. You're from Chicago, right?
Yeah, I'm just outside Chicago. So, and do you know where Aurora is, or have you heard of Aurora? It's
I've heard of
just
Aurora, Colorado, not
okay.
Chicago.
So Aurora, it's the second deadliest place, or was the second deadliest place, other than Chicago. It's kind of where the drugs go to Chicago, and then they go to Aurora, then they go to everybody else.
Oh, well, that's nice to know. I'm supposed to be in Chicago in January, so.
Hey, perfect. You got options. So with your mom being sleeping and stuff like that, did she take you to elementary school? Did you walk to school? What did that look like?
Yeah, I took the bus to elementary school, and then during the summers I would just be alone and shit like that. And I had friends and stuff like that, but I was a little fat kid, so they didn't want to hang out with me.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point kids start judging, but for like the first 5 or 7 years they don't seem too judgy at least. Uh,
Yeah.
for you, when did you feel that like they didn't want to hang out with you and like how'd you figure that out?
Well, they all liked playing sports.
Okay.
And I was like a pussy, so I would like to pretend to play superheroes and shit.
Yeah.
And they were like, "We don't want to play with you nerds." So it would just be me and maybe a couple other friends that I don't talk to no more. But yeah, we would just play fucking our action figures and shit. And then the teachers would get mad at us. They'd be like, "No toys," and stuff like that. So that sucked. But I think it's better that was that way than now. 'Cause now all kids do is just play on their fucking phones and shit.
Yeah. So when you were in school, did you enjoy the school at all? Just hanging out with friends? What did you like there?
I don't remember elementary too well. I remember second grade because my grandma was the teacher, so everyone treated me like royalty.
There you
And then,
go.
middle school, I switched. I went to a Catholic middle school,
Okay.
and that was sick. I got the free hookup because my grandma switched over there, so I just went there for free.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, everyone else was paying and shit, and that was sick. It's crazy though because everyone then was super preserved, and now I look I'll go through Instagram, and now they're either on OnlyFans or they're dead. Yeah.
So what was the biggest change or shock when you went over to a Catholic school?
Um, I guess um church was mandatory on Thursdays,
Okay.
and that was sick because math was at on the first period, so we would just miss math.
Yeah.
So that was sick. Also the uniforms and stuff like that. they're very like strict to like how you presenting yourself. Like it would be like a polo shirt and like navy blue pants, but you have to like tuck in your polo shirt. And because of that, like it kind of made me like grow like a resentment towards like not like I don't like saying a resentment towards authority because everyone says that and it's like that's kind of hacky, but like I don't like being told like what to wear. And it's not like that I what anything I wear. I'm not like fucking like Lady Gaga or Chapel Roan where I'm just gonna have my fucking ass out and shit. But like really, I just don't like tucking in my shirt.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I got from it. Meanwhile, like everyone else, and I was pretty good in school too. That's the one thing I learned from it is like it kind of taught me like, hey, some things you got to pay attention to because they're very
Yeah.
strict on that. And like, I also like inform me like I'm not like deeply religious. I'm like I use religion as insurance in a way. You know what I mean? Like, like I don't want to be an atheist because like if there's no God and if there's a God, I'm fucked. You know what I mean? So like I'll just pray like once a month, check in. You know what I mean?
So, as far as your like religious experience or getting introduced, was it just when you went to Catholic school? Or did you go to church beforehand? What was your experience?
I mean, we were pretty regular about it. Everyone, like my family has always been like Catholic Christian, like we prayed and shit like that, but it wasn't like strict.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And then after that, um, I think every kid goes through this. Like, especially now, it's like they start questioning their religion, all that. So
Yeah.
I went through like a little atheist Green Day phase, and then after that, I was like, but then after I started realizing everyone around me was an atheist, so I was
Yeah.
like, I don't want to be a fucking atheist. And then it's like it also kind of made me like very negative. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's like, well, what's the fucking point of anything if there's no God?
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it doesn't hurt. You know what I mean? It doesn't hurt to have like some faith or some shit. So I kind of like gravitated back towards like religion.
Yeah. Well, it's really interesting seeing the path that people take, and generally it's the strictest people that usually try to shy away, or they start getting as far away as they can from religion.
Oh
And
yeah,
I think that's because they're not really given a choice. And for a long time, they're just like, oh, this is what it's supposed to be. And then as soon as you get that first time you're supposed to question something, you're like, uh-oh,
yeah,
what else has been a lie?
oh
And
yeah,
I think that's Catholicism really has a tough time because they're pretty strict. They're like,
yeah,
if you don't fit in this group, you're not allowed in. I feel like Christianity is like, we're gonna try to build this team. Like
yeah.
we're
We
gonna
need the money for our big churches. Everybody come in,
yeah, we're gonna
but
take as many people as we can. As far as like being religious or things that you enjoyed or didn't enjoy, when did you start questioning things in religion for yourself?
I think as soon as I got access to the internet,
Okay.
I've noticed that. I've heard that what you said before, though. It's like if you grew up like in a strict household, of course, once you get that branch of freedom,
Yeah.
obviously. But I feel like because I'm Gen Z, my generation, like they have so like much access to the internet now,
Oh
where
yeah.
it's not really based off like experience. It's just like someone else told you, and now you're just kind of listening to what they said. Which I fell into that trap
Yeah.
where you know what I mean? Where it's like, I guess I have been oppressed. And it's like, no, you haven't. You had a good family. Like your dad, like it's usually like people, it's like their dad was a pretty, I've seen this a lot. Like their dad was a pretty normal dude and stuff like that. And they're like, hey, just get good grades in school and all that shit. And they got access to the internet. It's like, well, you know what? Your dad's actually a fascist. And it's like, what the fuck? He took you to the zoo, you cunt. You
Yeah.
know?
And do you feel like there was any resentment for your parents like not being there a lot, or were you able to see that like they're trying to provide for you? Because you mentioned you're like, hey, like I didn't grow up poor, I grew up well.
Yeah,
And
I mean, for sure, man. I mean, at first, like again, like when I started questioning things was the internet.
yeah.
Uh yeah, and then like I realized like probably like a year from that, I'm being a fucking asshole to my parents and like I'm doing drugs and all this shit and I'm treating my parents who worked their ass off for me
Yeah.
to do that. She's like, no, man. Like I started like I fell into that hole, but I got out of it pretty fast where I could appreciate everything they've done for me. Like, yeah, I mean, they're a little old school, a little wacky and stuff like that, but they're good people at the end of the day, and
Right.
I'm very grateful for everything they provided for me.
That's fantastic. And when my parents got divorced, I was kind of a dick to my mom. just because she was the only one around. So I was just,
Yeah.
and then now like we're best friends. This is great.
Yeah.
Like, Mom, you were wonderful. I'm so sorry. And like I wasn't doing anything wild. Like I would just have some back talk and like wouldn't do my chores sometimes. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. Um,
That's that's how I was.
as far as like introduction to drugs, what was your story? My favorite one so far is I had a buddy on and he's like, yeah, we were down in it was like Puerto Vallarta or something like that, and like some guy in the back alley asked me if I wanted some weed. I'm like, there's no way that's true. I'm like, anytime someone gets introduced, it's usually like a buddy. But like, what was it for you?
So I remember I was like, I don't know, I was going through like a skater phase in eighth grade, and
Nice.
everyone was like, in the videos, like music videos, people were smoking weed and all that shit. I remember my mom went to Target and we got these tin cans of tea.
Okay.
And I found some rolling papers in my dad's room. I was like, well, I didn't know my dad rolled cigarettes. So I tried rolling up tea in a joint and smoking it, and my dad was like, "You're a fucking idiot," and then threw the shit away. A month later, I'm still like, "I want to smoke weed," and I went into I don't know why my dad kept it there in the freezer. We have like a big freezer. My dad has a jar of weed in there, so I took some of it and smoked his weed, and then he wasn't mad at the fact that I smoked weed. He was mad at the fact that I stole his weed and smoked it because it was from Alaska.
That's wild. I he probably kept it in the freezer so it didn't smell. That's probably, or does it?
No, he thought it kept it fresh.
That's pretty funny. I'm like, I don't know. Maybe keep the Alaska temperature. Maybe
I don't know, man. It was that abominable snowman kush or some shit.
that's hilarious. So I think that's like a healthy reaction because if you're an adult and you're saying, "Oh no, don't do this. This is for adults only," then it's like, well, once again, here we're introducing something like now I can't trust what you say. Like, well,
Yeah.
why can't I do this? Um, so after smoking it for the first time, like, what was the experience? Were you like, "Oh, I want more of this. This is
It,
okay."
It was very nothing happened.
Okay,
Nothing happened. I was like, I guess I got to keep doing it more so it works. And then slowly, I became like a big pothead, and then I got bad because I got into pills and all that shit.
okay.
And then I had to like stop doing. I quit weed and all that
Well,
shit.
so how do you smoke so I grew up playing sports, not really good at it, but I was like,
Yeah.
oh, if I'm doing drugs, I won't be able to compete. I sucked anyway, so maybe I should have had some fun. But as far as like getting into it, doesn't it like cost a fair amount of money and then like you have to not get caught by the cops? Like what's the I'm very I don't understand how you would do a lot of it and not get in trouble.
I was always pretty good at saving my money.
Okay.
So, and then where I live, it's like drugs are like I'd get a gram of weed and some pills, and that would come out to at least like 25 bucks all in total because all the drug dealers were my age and they were stupid. So I lowball them. And I would lowball them and I'd be like, I'd lie. I just fucking use fake math and all that shit. It's like, actually, this is worth this much and that much. And they would give me shit on discounts and stuff like that. Or I'd be cool with them and they would just, again, just free shit or discounts. I've always been pretty good at finding my way to like get free shit. I'm kind of a scumbag at heart.
Hey, no, you're negotiating. If someone's willing to give you at that price, then it looks like they're willing to give you at that price. The,
Yeah.
what was there any a time where they're like, "Hey, you should sell this for me?" Like, how did your friends get into it? I feel like if I started to sell drugs, I'd try to sell as much as possible, but that'd probably go really bad. What was it like in your area where a lot of people getting in trouble, or it seemed like it was just really prevalent?
Um, for me, what it was when I was in high school. This was sophomore year, and I didn't do this, but I was in the class when it happened. There was this fat guy named we all called him Cookie, and I'm not sure if you're familiar. You know those like slides, but they have like zipper like pockets on the slide part.
Uh, for pants or
No, they're like sandals. Like they're like
oh yeah,
slide sandals, but the top of it was like a pocket, and
what?
it's yeah, it was. They looked fucking ugly. They were for drug dealers though, and this fat guy named Cookie had a bag of ecstasy in it, and he had like a little goon with him because he was so fat he couldn't bend over to open up the pocket. So his goon, I think his name was Carlos, he would get it and sell it. Anyway, there's kids taking these pills in class and all overdosing, and which is a weird time to take it. I was in geometry class, and this dumb chick took the pill, which like that's a weird place to roll, you know. She took it and she fell over in the chair. And at first, we were all like tripping out, and then I was like, and then it kind of was like a domino effect because in the class, like classroom two spaces down, someone else had that experience, and they all tracked down to this guy Cookie, and he got arrested. We don't know whatever happened to him, but that's what kind of like, yeah, I don't think I should sell drugs. Like, if people fucking die, you're more fucked, you
Oh,
know?
did those kids died?
No, they didn't die, luckily, but they could have. It was
Right.
called like fentanyl and shit.
So at that time fentanyl's making its way in.
Yeah, I mean, because like I'm 22, so like this was like I want to say around 2018.
Okay.
So fentanyl is like it was on the rise, but it's not. It wasn't as prevalent as it is now, where everyone's a fucking zombie. But we didn't know. Like we knew there was something getting. It was getting cut with drugs,
Yeah.
but we didn't know like to the extent. So not everyone took it as seriously.
Yeah, when I was doing construction in probably like 2015 to around 2020, one of the guys I worked with, he sold coke, and he would go down to Miami. He would bring it, he'd buy it for like 10, $15,000, and then he'd cut it and like sell it for 40 or 50 up here. I'm like, you're making six figures working this job. Why are you selling coke? He's like, I do it for the insurance. I'm like, what is going on here? But I don't know if he had fentanyl in it or anything like that, but it's such an interesting thing because I feel like as soon as I feel like weed is pretty safe for the most part as far as like it's going to take a lot to overdose on it.
Oh
And
yeah, I think it's virtually impossible. The only problem with weed now is just that a lot of young people are just doing it, and since like the brain's still developing, they're kind of just
right.
becoming like dumber,
Yeah.
which
And
is like my problem.
I mean they might have a pill to reverse that at some point.
Hopefully,
Um but
hopefully, but like,
have you noticed as far as like the weed goes, I feel like when I was growing up, it was just like, oh, we got some decent weed from California or some like okay stuff, but now it all seems, for lack of a better term, like supercharged. Like it seems wild.
I think to me, what's crazy about it is how casual people and weed and other drugs in general. I think it's so crazy to me how like casual people are with their drug use.
Okay.
Like I noticed like obviously the drugs have gotten stronger, yeah, but the casuality of it, where it's like I've gone like I live in El Paso, like this is a big drinking town, so people will go to the bars and they'll just casually do coke so they can drive home, and they won't hide it or anything like that. They'll just like, hey, let's go to the bathroom, take a bump, and then we'll get the fuck out of here.
That's that's wild.
That's one thing I've learned like growing up. It's like, yeah, everyone just does coke. That's fucking weird.
That was something that I found during construction when like I didn't do any caffeine or anything like that because growing up I was on ADHD medication, so anytime I was given that, like it'd kind of like bring my mood down to more level. So like whenever I took caffeine, it was just like, oh, we miled out. We didn't go wild, but I was working maybe 12, 14-hour days, and I started taking like Red Bull, and I'm like, oh, sweet, like
Yeah.
200 milligrams of caffeine. I'd be like, guys, like I took this much caffeine today, and they're like, oh yeah, I took like a gram, or I don't even know what they're. I'm like, I don't think we're talking about the same stimulants here, guys. Like, it's like we got a lot of different things going on. Would you say in like high school that drinking or drug use was more prevalent, or it kind of went hand in hand?
It's kind of funny. I would meet all these dudes that were like brain dead because of all the pills they took.
Yeah,
And me and my friend Ray, who I'm still good friends with this day, great guitar player. We would drink. I would be the pothead, but I'd also drink with them. And we would go to score weed from these guys. They'd be like, "Hey, you want a shot or something?" And they couldn't talk because they were so pilled out of their brain. They're like, "Nah, bro, I don't fuck with that shit." It's like you're on fuck 200 milligrams of Xanax right now. Like, we're just trying to drink some vodka we stole from Ray's dad.
Well, so yeah, and I think there's trade-offs that the alcohol seems a little bit shorter and it doesn't last as long. What would you say in high school, what was your best experience with either drugs or drinking and then followed up with your worst?
My best experience is I'll say this: if you're a kid in high school, drugs make you pretty cool. You don't even have to do them; just have them, and you'll be the fucking cool kid. The bad thing is when you take, I thought I was cool because I'd probably just take a little bit. I dabble,
Yeah.
and I would, but when I really want to get fucked up, I would do it alone. I didn't want to get fucked up around other people.
Okay.
So when I got fucked up around other people, they'd be like, "Are you good?" And I'm like, "Ugh." Yeah. I go like full Biden. I'd be like, "What? Where am I?"
So you were doing drugs? Was it more so to just like enjoy the moment, to kind of relax? What was the situation?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I till this day I don't have an answer to it.
Okay.
I was just doing it to do it, not to fit in, not to like numb anything, not to like relax. Is what I mean. Like I'm like 17. What the fuck do I need to relax from? Life. I have a good home. I work a decent job. I'm like, what the good grades? Like I don't
Yeah.
have nothing to worry about. What? I got ghosted by my crush. Like there's nothing to. It was pretty. There's nothing really to do. I guess at the time I'd say it was to relax, but I look back at it now, I'm like, that's what you need to relax from.
Yeah.
And 5 years from now, you're going to be in debt.
As far as working and stuff like that goes, did your parents say you needed to go get a job? Were you like, "Hey, I need some money," and then what was that job you got?
I guess this actually goes in hand with the other question. My mom was a sweet mom. She always gave me like $20 for the week to get like food or some shit, but I'd spend it on drugs. And I would feel really, I felt, at one point I felt really bad about this. Like my sweet mother's giving me this money and I'm just using it to fucking be a degenerate. So
Yeah.
I ended up getting a job at the Wiener Schnitzel down the street from me.
Okay.
And I worked there for about 8 months. I actually became a manager for two
Woo!
weeks. Then I quit because it was during COVID where they promoted me to manager, and all my friends, we didn't follow any of the guidelines. We'd go skateboarding and all that shit and get drunk. So I was like, oh, all my friends were having fun when there's no traffic. I want to go do that. I don't want to sell hot dogs. So I quit the job, ended up doing that, and that was my first job. And I was pretty good. Like I'd save up all this money. All the managers in there were all drug addicts. Everyone that worked there was a fucking drug addict. So I
Yeah.
just get free fucking drugs all the time.
The whoever's dealing El Paso, man, they're doing a great job. Whatever Facebook ads they're putting out there, they're working.
You could just get drugs for free. It's a pretty drunk, druggy town, and it's pretty readily available.
Yeah.
It's insane to me.
Do you think there's not enough to do there? People are just kind of not a lot going on. What do you think the reason behind it is?
I mean, people from here will say there's not a lot to do here, but like there's plenty. It's like any other city. It's not a small city. We're right next to Juarez, so we have a recorded population of 800,000, and that's plus undocumented immigrants.
Yeah.
So we probably have about 1 million people that live here. And we have bars, we have like fun shit here. So I wouldn't say there's nothing to do. I honestly think it's just that like we're just I have no clue. I think we're just bored at the end of the day, and we're just looking for fun. That's the whole thing about this city. It's like we'll find fun when we can get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
No,
like I think the city's nothing but a bunch of addicts. I would say, and I'm one. The thing is with addicts is like you're gonna be constantly chasing a high.
right. And I feel like it's got to be tough to be an addict in a hot place. I feel like you're not going to want to go outside or be uncomfortable if you're having a trip or whatever it is.
From what I've seen, I mean, most people I think they just grow accustomed to it.
Okay.
They're like, all right, fuck it, I'll go take some acid and sweat my ass off. Why not? Fuck it, it's Thursday.
So what if you're taking acid, this has turned into half a introductory to drug podcast for me. What are we taking acid for? What is that doing for us?
Here, or I mean, I took an acid a couple times, and at first I did it because I was really into like Hunter S. Thompson
Okay.
and stuff like that. So I was like, I could be a journalist. So I took acid. And I just that's when I really I'm just such an asshole to my parents. And then I took it again, and nothing happened. And then the third time, I ended up naked in my backyard, and my dad caught me, and he just punched me in the face because he knew I was on drugs, rightfully so. Like,
How when you and dad are having a fight or an argument, how many stories does he have to bring up? They're like, ah, I remember that time you were naked in the backyard, or I
there's
feel like
probably hundreds.
I feel like going back and forth. I feel like he'd just have too much ammo.
Oh yeah.
So when graduating high school, did we have a path that we're looking on for afterwards? Are there any suggestions what you should be doing? What's that look like?
I went to community college, but I really wanted to do stand up
Okay.
because I graduated in 2021, and that's when things were just opening up right away.
Okay.
So I remember 2 months after I graduated, I did my first open mic, and from there I just kept constantly doing it. And I was going to community college at the time, and I remember I'd wake up during the day, do my classes, and I just look forward to the open mic. I couldn't put any focus in my fucking classes, and I didn't know what I wanted to study. And I remember like I switched my degree. I was in college for like 3 semesters, and then within those 3 semesters, I changed my degree based on what movie I was into at the time. So like I was in journalism at first because I loved Hunter S. Thompson, and then I switched to culinary because I read Anthony Bourdain's book,
Okay.
and then the third one was business because I was really into Wolf of Wall Street. I was like, yeah,
Yes.
I can just do cocaine and accounting and fuck bitches. And I was like, math is hard, and I just stuck to comedy and worked odd jobs.
So, what was your first set like? Was it hard to get up when you found an open mic? What
Yeah, it was hard physically, mentally. I've never been afraid of public speaking.
That's awesome.
But physically it was hard because I was 18, and a lot of the Texas, we have this thing called the 51% law, which is after like 9 p.m.
Yeah.
minors can't be in a bar past 9 o'clock, and all the mics started at 10, and there's not that many in the city. So I went to the only one I could find, and I remember hiding in the restroom with my ear pressed against the door like fucking Anne Frank or some shit. And as soon as they said my name, I went up there. I had people felt sympathy for me because I was like a kid. I had more of a younger face at the time, and they're like, "Oh, he's cute." I had one joke about the new iPhone, and the whole joke was like, "The new iPhone just came out. I think they should put windshield wipers on it so I can wipe the cum off when I'm done watching porn." It was a really shitty joke. That got a laugh, and then I ran out. And then after that, I was like, I liked that, and I just kept chasing that.
That's amazing. So, how did well, actually, I don't need to ask how you came up with that joke. Um, we're good on that introduction.
Personal experience.
Pretty self-explanatory. So for the open mic, did you go up and it's like, hey, come tell one joke? Was it 3 minutes?
It
You
was
hit that
five
one.
minutes.
5 minutes for an open mic seems wild.
It was five. It's because the open mic was a combination of three things. So it was music, poetry, and comedy. And
That sets up a good room for you.
no, and it was mostly poets and comedians in this town. They bash a lot of heads because like the poets are all uh like deep and they're very smart people, and then the comedians are just drunken fools. And I am a kid, and I remember I had to follow my opening joke. So the porn joke was in the middle, but I remember my opening. I had to follow this trans lady, and she was all like, "It's just the struggles of being a trans lady."
Yeah.
And I went up and I was like, "Ah, she give it up for her. She's the man for that." Stupid fucking silence, and I'm like, oh, and then I immediately knew how to pander. I was like, oh, so this is my first open mic, and I was like, woo, and then went into the porn joke that got a laugh, and then ran out. I didn't do stand up for 2 weeks, and then I'd often get kicked out of the bars. They thought I was gonna drink there
Yeah.
because I was a minor, which I wouldn't. I would, but I would sneak in my own beers. I'd
Yeah.
have a backpack and I go drink them in the restroom because I needed a buzz, and then I would go do my open mic and run out.
So what's your writing process like?
Um, at first, it was just write as much shit, like throw shit, and then see whatever goes there, and then like structure it.
Yeah.
And then lately, because I've been like on the road a lot, I've it's mostly like going through old jokes and like seeing like where something can fit. Because like my goal is I want to build an hour that's solid. You
Yeah.
know, I know a lot of comedians now they're focused on like the short term because like, everything's content now,
Right.
which is cool. Like it pushes you, but I feel like I've grew up listening to comedy and all that shit. Like my dad always put on like radio stations that played nothing but stand up. Grew up on stand up, so I've always wanted to form like a solid good hour
Yeah.
of just good material, and I just want to like structure it. So I'm trying to like structure jokes, see what fits there, cutting shit out, trimming fat and stuff like that. That's pretty much it. I can't just sit down to write. I have to think of an idea and then I'll start jotting shit down. And I like to write like physically. That way, like it's. I read somewhere that if you write something down physically, it sticks in your head more.
Yeah. Well, I think you're taking the time and it's slower, so you actually have to like okay, it's an A, it's a B, iPad, and it takes longer, and you actually have to focus on that. Uh,
Yeah.
so when you decided, you're like, this is my thing. Did you feel like elated? You're like, man, this is gonna be great. It's gonna suck. I'm gonna struggle, whatever it's gonna be, but I found it.
Yeah, I knew it was gonna take a while. I knew the struggle was gonna take a while. Like it took 2 years for me to at least start getting like recognized in my city
Yeah.
because everyone just saw me as like an immature idiot. And because a lot of people in the city, I found luckily I found a tight group of friends. But before I've met them, a lot of the people in the city that would start, they were very like up their own asses about comedy. They're like, yeah, bro, we're like the real truth tellers and all that. She's like, you're a fucking clown. Like, I can at least admit at the end of the day, I'm a fucking clown.
Yeah.
And that's how that separated me from a lot of them because I wasn't really up my own ass.
Okay.
And I met my friend Javi, my friend Anthony, and my friend Greg. Javi blew up on my friend Javi. He blew up on TikTok,
Nice.
and he started taking me on the road with him. Like when I did that Kill Tony thing, I had just finished a 4 day tour all around Texas
Oh,
with
so you
him.
were fresh. You were ready to go.
I was fresh and kind of tired because it's like you're jumping from one city to the other, like packing up your shit,
Yeah.
hotels and all that shit, and you're drinking the whole time. And when I did that Kill Tony thing, that was gonna be a rest day. I didn't plan on getting it. My whole thing was I looked at it like skydiving. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Where it's like I could do it, and that's a cool thing I could say I did. But if I never did it, it also would never bother me.
Yeah.
And I just happened to put my name in there and the bucket, and they called me, and I remember like, but everything happens like so fast. Like
Yeah.
they'll call your name, like go, 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 and then you go to the Joe Rogan thing, and you hear Tony Henschel like, "All right, are you ready for your next fucking comedian of the fucking night?" And I go on there, I start off, first joke lands, and I try setting it up. It's failing because it's like I started getting in my own head because it's like this is like one of the
Yeah.
biggest comedy shows in the world. You know, it's bigger than SNL, and I'm thinking it's like and in like 2 weeks, a million people are gonna watch this, and
Yeah.
Reddit's gonna hate me. And then the last joke lands, and then I go back into my own head, and then now all of a sudden, these big comedians think I'm autistic.
I was going to a not a Walmart pickup, a Facebook Marketplace pickup in Chicago. So it's like, all right, like I have an hour and a half drive. It's late at night. If I listen to Rogan, like I'll fall asleep because just like that's how I used to fall asleep sometimes. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I gotta listen to something to keep me up. And I was listening to you go up there, and I'm like, wow, fuck! Like whenever I find someone funny that I'm listening to, I'm like, quick, go to their Instagram. I'm like, hey man, just listen to your set. Like this was phenomenal. And then it's like as the interview keeps going, I hear Tony like, "Oh yeah, we haven't had a lot of this and a lot of that lately. People are moving on." I'm like, "Fuck, he's gonna give him a golden ticket, isn't it?" Like, I'm not gonna be able to get him. But it was just like I messaged you, and then as soon as I heard him say that, I'm like, "Fuck!" Because like your responses, I was telling my wife before we jumped on here, I'm like, it was phenomenal. It was just hilarious. So what are those planned responses, or are you just like firing from the hip, or what's going on there?
You know, it's funny because if you go on the Reddit, people think I was trolling. Like they thought like, one guy posted because I'm a fucking narcissist. I went through the Reddit to look my own name up, and someone was like, "They're playing chess while I'm playing checkers." Like, no, I'm not. I was drunk and scared, and I guess. I mean, from doing comedy for so long, 4 years and all that shit, doing the road, I've been pretty good at coming up like naturally.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But it wasn't planned at all. I was like the mom's fat thing and all that shit. I was like, I don't. I'm a big fan of like Norm Macdonald.
yeah.
So I've always took like I actually started doing stand up the day after he died.
Wow.
So I've always took a lot of inspiration from him and like the way he like answers things. And I always thought like if I do go and kill Tony, I'm gonna treat it like have you ever seen a shit on Conan where
Yeah.
he just like even though like the whole thing with the I'm gay thing, I'm not actually gay, but I took inspiration from that because he did an interview with Larry King where they're like, what's one thing about you, Norm, that no one knows nothing about? It's like I'm a deeply closeted gay guy, and then they're
Norm, are you trying to tell us something here? Are you trying to? No, I wouldn't tell you if I was.
deeply closeted. So I took inspiration from. I always said if I'm gonna go and kill someone, I'm gonna do like a admiration to that.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of inspiration. Like the whole gay thing. That was the only thing that was planned. Everything else was just off the dome.
Oh, it's why do you think your mom is fat? I've seen her. I'm like, that's like, oh God, it was phenomenal. I was just like, that's so goddamn funny. Um, so it ends, you get the ticket. What's the next steps? Like, how pumped are you? Are you like, I gotta go fall asleep, or we're not sleeping for the next week? What's going on?
Oh, so as soon as I get off, I'm like, I'm ready to leave. And then before you go up there, they take it's the mothership is like more strict than airport security.
Yeah.
So like they take everything away from you. I'm chugging the water when I get off, and then the photographer comes out, who I found out later is Dave Chappelle's photographer and stuff
Okay.
like that. And he's like, "Hey, buddy, can I get a picture of you holding the big joke book?" And I'm like that. And I'm walking through the alley to go back to the other bar to meet my friends. And the first thing that comes to my head is, this is as good as it gets. It all ends here and all that stuff. And then I go up there, and then I have anxiety for like the next 2 weeks. Like, what the fuck did I say on that? Because I couldn't record it because he took my phone away.
Yeah.
So I just have this like big anxiety of this what I said on there. Like, what the fuck did I say? And we're leaving Arizona when it aired because we just did a show in Chandler, and we're leaving as soon as we pull up to my house. We're having the live stream on. That's when the fucking episode pops up.
Yeah.
So we watched the whole thing. Um, we're laughing and all that stuff, and then immediately, like I thought it was crazy how many people like just start hitting you up like right away. I was like, that's fucking weird, and I had to delete Instagram for the day, so I didn't like okay, if I keep
Yeah.
fucking looking at this, I'm gonna become a cunt.
Right.
Yeah. So
So,
it was just wild.
and with that being said, like, what's the so you've been traveling and stuff like that. Um, what's the move now? Is it more stuff locally? Is it still traveling? How does that work out?
So here, the next show I got's in November, and then after that, me and my friends, we're gonna take my friend Javi and them, we're gonna do a run up in California. So I forgot what cities we're doing. We're doing that, but right now I'm just trying to like work like a build like because I have about 25 minutes.
Yeah.
That's good. So I just want to make sure that's built that to make sure it's solid, and then because I'm not most comedians they'll like start headline. I've seen a lot of them like that get the take not tickets, but like they'll get like the big joke book and they'll start touring, but they're only like 2 years in, and they're not very good when they fill out that whole hour. So I
Yeah.
don't want to. I don't want. That was always my biggest fear about going on Kill Tony. Like then, because like
Right.
I seen what it does. It's like I'm not ready for that.
Yeah.
You know. I just want to have like a solid fucking set. I don't want to just put out slop just to make money. You know.
So right now, what's your um what time slot do you fill right now?
So I can do. I want to just start doing like 25-minute feature spots.
Okay.
That's really what I want to do. Other than that, like I don't want to like headline or anything like that. Maybe like the next few years, headlining. I plan on going back to Austin in like a couple months, see if I can get on again, and then this time I'll be like. Luckily, now that I know how it works,
Yeah.
I can like be more like confident and solid, and hopefully get that golden ticket because that's the next. That's like a short term goal.
Yeah.
Get the golden ticket. And if I don't, it's fine. But that's pretty much what I want to do.
Yeah. So it for as far as like the paid gigs and stuff like that, it always seems very far like around and over the place. Who books this stuff? how do you get paid? Are you actually making money or like what's the scenario?
It depends because a lot of places are different. Like in Chandler, you have to. I get so. I luckily I'm friends with Javi, who always puts me on his shows. So I'll get paid like 100 to 300 bucks
Okay.
for featuring, but it depends on ticket sales, where you're going. Some clubs want to see a sizzle reel of you, which is like 15 minutes of material, headshots, a website, what's your draw, all that stuff. It just depends where you're going. That those are clubs though. Breweries are different. Like a brewery, you can just send a thing and they'll pay you out of pocket. You don't have to worry about drawing all that shit. The best
Yeah.
way, like I'd say this, like if you're like a young comedian, but you could probably fill out an hour. Don't do clubs, do like breweries and stuff like that in small cities, like cities where the population's probably like 5,000 to 10,000, because
Okay.
the chances are they have nothing going on, and a comedy show is going to be a big draw no matter who it is.
Interesting. So we're definitely working still part-time jobs while doing this then?
Yeah, still doing landscape and doing chores and shit.
Yeah. So and it's the direction I think a lot of people, definitely in the US, like to have a job that they like
Yeah.
is very tough and like a direction that they want to go. How does it feel like being on that path?
It's satisfying. I'd say that because I know a lot of people my age are going to college for something they don't really want to do. So I feel pretty fortunate that I'm working and have worked doing what I've done. Even though it's been for free, I've always known that this is for a long-term thing. And I never mind working jobs I've hated because it's like, it's just more material
Yeah.
right there and stuff like that. And I mean, it also kind of humbles you in a way because if you're around entertainers all the time, you kind of start picking up their habits. And most entertainers are fucking assholes. Like they're stuck in their own head a lot and stuff like that. And I've never wanted to be like that. You know, I've always, because I come from like blue collar family, stuff
Yeah.
like that. And I've never really gotten along. Like in high school, I never got along with the theater kids and stuff like that. And yesterday I just shot my first commercial and I was working with these actresses and stuff like that. And I was like, you guys have like no personality and stuff like that. And I feel like you're gonna find like, the most personality from people that work do something they hate,
Yeah.
you know. So I'm gonna keep doing that until I can do comedy full time.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still want to like do like regular shit too, you know.
Do you think that the lack of showing personality is because they're just trying to put out there what they think people want to see, or just because that's just they've been so not necessarily a closeted fun person, but just like they got to keep that side?
Well, I think it's two things. I think one thing is that like everyone's doing something for Instagram now and TikTok and content. And when you do shit like that, you're constantly like trying to put out the best version of yourself. But if you're constantly putting out the best version of yourself, that's not really who you are. And you
Yeah.
lose authenticity and stuff like that. And whereas you go to like a blue collar worker, they don't give a fuck about Instagram or any of this shit. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And I think when you constantly put your focus on that, which I mean, kudos to them, but you lose a piece of yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's not really who you are. Like my friend Javi, he blew up on TikTok. He's one of the few people that's still himself
Yeah.
that hasn't changed and stuff like that. But other people I have seen get like a little bit of success and like they don't even talk to you like a normal person. They talk to you like an NPC in a video game or some shit, which is like that's
Yeah.
weird. Like I'm
Well,
still a
I
human being.
like for myself growing up, I only had like the people I hung around with, but I you grew up watching TV shows or movies, and that's kind of like how those people act. So like if you don't have actual interactions with like real people, I feel like that's just gonna what you have. And most people they go through school and then they have that, and it's just like, oh, this is what it is. You want to be this type of person. Um,
Yeah.
so when you're traveling, what's been your best on the road experience, either while working or just in general?
My favorite one was in Louisiana. This was like the second road gig I ever did. It was in chat fuck what is it? You ever seen the show True Blood?
The vampires?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It takes place in the city where True Blood is.
Okay.
Shreveport, Louisiana. And that's surprisingly about that. That's where Bush landed after 9/11. That was his first pit stop.
Okay. Good to know.
Anyway, I love Louisiana 'cause I love like Southern culture. I love culture a lot. And like Southern, it's so crazy like seeing Southern culture, especially coming from like a Latino background
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And I did a theater there. I just did a 10-minute guest spot. And the theater used to be an old prison, like an old jail. So the green room were cells, and then it's a small little theater. It's probably like probably say like a 200 seater. Um, but theater was packed out. I do my shit, and I'm going in the back of the jail cell. And I felt like Johnny Cash. It was a surreal experience. And then after that, we went to go celebrate. They somehow let me in the bar. I was like 19 or 20 at the time. They let
It's
me in these
Louisiana.
bars. It was awesome. And then like this lady, our Uber driver, to take us back to the house. Oh, like Southern black woman. She had gumbo, so she gave us free gumbo and the stuff. And she was just talking like, "Yeah, my son just died, but celebrating his death. Here's some crawdad and all that stuff." Sweetest lady ever. I know that was racist, but she was the sweetest lady I've ever met.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorite ones. I actually got to like experience the city. But other times when I'm traveling, I don't really get to see much. We kind of just go in there, we sit in the hotel room, have a couple brewskis, and then we go straight to the show. And then maybe we'll go to. I don't like going to the bars that much. Like I just like going. I'm kind of an introvert. I like going back to the hotel and just drinking and packing. So that was my favorite one because I actually just got to experience the culture.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what's your diet on the road? Are we cooking in the hotel? What are
Oh,
we
dude, it's shit. It's shit food. I'll say this. Last time when we were on the run, the last run when I did Kill Tony, we went to Houston and Javi's fucking famous. And there's this rapper named Bumby who follows Javi, who owns a burger joint called Trill Burger. And he hooked us all up with free Trill Burgers on shit. Greasy, bad for you burger, but the best thing you'll ever have,
Yeah.
especially because it's free. That was cool, but the diet's terrible because it's like you don't have time to like prep and all that shit. You're just kind of like, all right, go, 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 go,
Yeah.
you know. And and I look at that's why I look so fucking bloated on the Kill Tone. I hate that fucking set because I look at it, I'm like, I'm all bloated. And it's like they always say like the camera adds like 10 pounds. They never say anything about it adding tits. You know?
I think it was a Friends episode, and they're like, "How many cameras were on you?" I was like, "That's a pretty good one. I like that." So, like, if you were eating ideally, like, what would that look like for you?
Probably just spinach and chicken.
Okay.
That's what I did. I used to weigh like 215, and I was like, I'm tired of being a fat guy. So I just ate chicken and spinach and did nothing but cardio, and I got all the way down to 115. And it was pretty bad though, because I was like getting dizzy and shit like that. And then
150 is nuts.
I started drinking beer, and I got up to like 160, and that's my weight now. So beer kind of saved my life.
Yeah. Hey, there you go. We're on it. We got another ad for you that you can start filming for. As far as other than like comedy and stuff like that, do you enjoy, obviously you're working doing like physical activities, but do you like any sports, disc golf, anything other like that?
I like golf, I like skateboarding and stuff like that. Bit of a football. I like football when I'm watching with my dad. Um, but that's pretty much it. I've never like I like baseball too. Baseball's fun. I like playing baseball.
Okay.
Never in little league, but I've always just like going to like the park with my friends, just bringing a 12 pack and just like hitting dingers and stuff like that. That's fun.
That's nice that you got a group of friends that are like, hey, we're gonna go do some shit. Let's go.
Yeah.
Very nice. Well, we're gonna wrap things up with the same two questions that everybody gets. Uh,
Okay.
so the first one is, what's your definition of health? Not necessarily the dictionary definition, but what is health to you?
Um, try not to like. For me, health is like not being like your BMI, you know, don't eat like shit every day. I mean, you don't have to be a psychopath and like eat perfectly healthy. Don't drink every day. You can drink in moderation, you know. I guess moderation, that's what I'd say health
Okay.
is, you know. You don't have to be fucking like a bodybuilder like Andrew Tate or some shit, you know. It's okay to have a bit of fat, you know.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then what's something from your life that people listening to the podcast would be able to take away as a positive?
Um, what is something from my life that people can take away as a positive? If you're a minor in high school, just have drugs. You'll get pussy and you'll get everything you want if you just have. Do you have to do them? Just have them.
Well, the percentage of kids having drugs in school just went skyrocketed.
I know I'm an influence.
There we go. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.